The search results mainly discuss the USS Tripoli's role in transporting Marines and conducting exercises in the South China Sea. The ship has been involved in operations such as the U.S.-Australia Talisman Sabre exercise, where it transited through the Coral Sea in the Pacific. Additionally, the USS Tripoli has been used for testing the F-35B Lightning carrier concept, with Marines loading record numbers of F-35B jets aboard the ship for flight operations. What is the USS Tripoli, and what is its purpose? The USS Tripoli, LHA-7, is the second America-class amphibious assault ship and the third U.S. Navy ship named in honor of the Battle of Derna in 1805, where U.S. Marines and approximately 370 soldiers from 11 other nationalities captured the city of Derna, Libya. The ship is designed to accommodate the Marine Corps' future air combat element, ACE, including the F-35B Lightning II and MV-22 Osprey. Taiwan's top diplomat on Tuesday said China's military drills show it is preparing for invasion of the island, but a top U.S. defense official says Beijing is trying to change the status quo gradually and an attempted takeover is not imminent. Taiwan's Foreign Minister Joseph Wu called a press briefing to lay out his government's position on China's military exercises launched after last week's visit to the self-governing island by U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. China has used the drills in its military playbook to prepare for the invasion of Taiwan, Wu said. China's real intention behind these military exercises is to alter the status quo in the Taiwan Strait and the entire region, the minister said, warning that Beijing's behavior toward Taiwan is merely a pretext and its ambitions and impact is extending far beyond Taiwan. China was continuing its military pressure on Taiwan with more air and naval drills off the back of its initial 4-day exercise after Pelosi left the Democratic Island, which Beijing considers to be part of China. Beijing also announced a new series of military drills in the South China Sea, Yellow Sea, and Bohai Sea will continue until next month. On Tuesday, the Eastern Theater Command of the Chinese People's Liberation Army, PLA, continued to organize practical joint exercises in the sea and airspace around Taiwan Island, focusing on joint blockades and joint resupply logistics, the Ministry of Defense in Beijing said in a statement. The PLA carried out anti-submarine and sea assault drills in waters around Taiwan on Monday, sending 13 warships and 39 aircraft, about half of which crossed the median line of the Taiwan Strait. But U.S. Undersecretary of Defense for Policy Colin Kahl said Washington's defense policy makers do not think China could take over Taiwan militarily in the next 2 years, although he said China is trying to salami slice their way into a new status quo in the region instead. Clearly the PRC is trying to coerce Taiwan. Clearly they're trying to coerce the international community. And all I'll say is, we're not going to take the bait and it's not going to work. Kahl told reporters at the Pentagon on Monday, referring to China by its official name, the People's Republic of China. What we'll do instead is to continue to fly, to sail, and to operate wherever international law allows us to do so, and that includes in the Taiwan Strait, the undersecretary said, adding that he thinks there's a lot of confidence in that U.S. commitment. That means the U.S. military is set to continue transiting the Taiwan Strait, which it considers international waters, as well as conducting freedom of navigation operations in the South China and East China Seas. President Joe Biden on Monday said he was not worried about China's military exercises around Taiwan, but was concerned that they're moving as much as they are. But I don't think they're going to do anything more than they are, he told reporters at the Delaware Air National Guard base. Kahl also explained the reason behind the Pentagon's initial hesitance about Pelosi's visit to Taiwan last week. Biden told reporters 10 days before the trip that U.S. military officials believed it's not a good idea for now. We're at a moment of profound international tension, Kahl said. I think there was a sense that the world didn't require another instance of rising tensions, but it is what it is, and the speaker had every right to go, and when she made the final decision, we were fully supportive. Beijing reacted angrily to the visit, threatening the strongest countermeasures and announcing unprecedented military drills around Taiwan. For the first time, the PLA reportedly fired missiles over Taiwan's main island, some of which landed in Japan's exclusive economic zone within 200 nautical miles, 370 km, from its shores. The U.S. military responded by deploying warships and aircraft in the area. U.S. Navy's only forward-deployed aircraft carrier, the USS Ronald Reagan, and its strike group has been in northern Philippine Sea after being ordered by Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin to remain on station in the general area to monitor the situation. A big-deck amphibious assault ship, the USS Tripoli, is in the Philippine Sea, according to the U.S. Naval Institute. Data provided by the ship tracking website Marine Traffic show that the missile tracking ship USNS Howard O. Lorenzen has been operating in the waters east of Taiwan for several days. Equipped with a sophisticated radar system, its purpose is to track airborne missiles, said Gordon Arthur, a military analyst and Asia-Pacific editor of Shepherd Media, a defense news portal. Given its proximity to Taiwan, I'd say that's exactly what it's been doing. The long route of Nancy Pelosi's Tuesday flight over Borneo to Taipei and a U.S. aircraft carrier's complex passage through the South China Sea highlight the difficulties U.S. forces now face against a Chinese military keen to flex its muscles over Taiwan. U.S. military officials repeatedly talk of routine patrols to support a free and open Indo-Pacific, but the realities are increasingly challenging amid the worst Taiwan tensions since 1996. According to diplomats, military attachés, and security analysts. U.S. officials told Reuters this week they did not want to escalate matters with unnecessarily provocative deployments before House Speaker Pelosi, a staunch China critic and the third most senior U.S. politician, landed in Taipei on Tuesday on a U.S. Air Force plane. And they are keeping to that approach as the Chinese military launches live firing exercises in waters surrounding, and in some bisecting, Taiwan's territory, they say. We can't control Pelosi's travel, but we can control how we react, one defense official said. The U.S. Indo-Pacific Command in Hawaii did not immediately respond to Reuters' questions regarding its actions and strategies. The plane carrying Pelosi and her congressional delegation skirted the South China Sea and its fortified islands as it flew from Singapore on Tuesday, taking a longer route over the island of Borneo and eastern side of the Philippines. The natural flight path would be over the South China Sea, but the place is now bristling with radars, sensors, and jamming equipment on China's island bases, so it is something to avoid in the Pelosi context, said Singapore-based security consultant Alexander Neal. The way things are unfolding, we can see the goal here is to avoid unmanaged escalations. After building up installations in the disputed Paracel and Spratlys archipelagos, Chinese Coast Guard vessels, warships, and aircraft routinely patrol deep into the maritime heart of Southeast Asia, frequently shadowing U.S. and other navies. China's military modernization in recent decades means some security analysts say it would be unthinkable for U.S. aircraft carriers to challenge Chinese forces in the seas around Taiwan in the way they did a quarter of a century ago. Back then, one carrier sailed through the Taiwan Strait as another maneuvered close by to end days of Chinese missile launches and military drills as Beijing protested Taiwan's first direct presidential election. More than half of the U.S. Navy's 111 currently deployed battle force ships are now within the Japanese-based 7th Fleet's sphere of responsibility that straddles the Western Pacific and Indian Oceans, according to the tracking by the independent U.S. Naval Institute. Deploying ships en masse to the Chinese coast is another matter, given China's inventory of advanced cruise and ballistic missiles and its expansive surface fleet, regional security analysts say. 4 powerful vessels, the aircraft carrier USS Ronald Reagan, the amphibious assault ship USS Tripoli, and the guided missile cruiser USS Antietam are east of Taiwan, Reuters has confirmed. Another assault ship, which also carries F-35 strike fighter aircraft, is at port nearby in Japan.